What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one wants to talk about what's going on with Tesla stock. We saw Tesla drop quite a bit in the morning, and this thing started to just chop around for many hours. But now the market is starting to curl, and we're starting to see the bulls taking over as the market is turning bullish. So I want to break down some important levels on Tesla, on SPY, and all these different tickers. I want to break down what's going on with the news affecting the markets and what you should be watching for when it comes to support and resistance levels. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. Now, this offer ends in just about 9 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with Tesla and the market. So, this was pretty crazy. I was talking about how Tesla was looking a little bearish in the morning. And if you look at Tesla, it actually was quite bearish. We sank down for the first hour. We saw Tesla come all the way down to 250. It tried to push a little bit, then it came right back down to about 253. It was continuing to remain very weak for most of the day. And you could see that this is actually much lower than where we were yesterday. Yesterday, Tesla was in the 260s. So yes, those bearish signals I talked about yesterday did come true. But then intraday later on, after the big drop happened, a lot of money could have been made on this play. But as time went on, Tesla started to recover, Tesla started to bounce, and we just got this very nice looking green candle about 20 minutes ago. And Tesla made its way up to about 256. Now it's testing the 200 EMA on the 5-minute time frame. So one thing worth mentioning is that we also have this bullish looking 4-hour candle as long as Tesla holds like this for the next couple of hours. And on top of this, we have this gap all the way up here, very close to 260. So now there's an attempt to balance in the markets. I just wanted to call out how crazy this really was because we had some bad news that came out for Tesla. Tesla cuts the Model 3 and Model Y prices in the US after the deliveries have fallen. And this is once again leading to more concerns about their margins. And then on top of this, we had a more bearish jobs report that came out. Now, this did cause the market to drop initially. Yes, the market came down, but this was a trap set for many investors as we started to see liquidity being grabbed and SPY is now squeezing. So let's break this down what happened in the morning. Just as a reminder, we were talking about how the market was weak, and that is true. Actually, the market was very weak for the first few hours. You could see SPY was just toying with this 420 area over and over again for the first hour. It was just very weak. It wasn't really trying to bounce. Then intraday, we started to see this thing curl. Now, one thing I mentioned was that 420 was a very critical zone on SPY. If we broke below that, that would have been bearish. If we held it, then yes, the bulls could step in. And we saw this thing make its way back above 424, which is a bullish signal, breaking above the 5-minute 200 EMA. And now SPY has been just launching all the way up to about 428. It started launching very hard over the last, I would say 30 minutes. So because the market is bouncing like this is helping Tesla pump to the upside. So let's break down some very important levels on these other tickers. So anyways, going back to SPY, for example, actually, let me first talk about Tesla before I talk about SPY. I forgot to call out the levels. So you're going to be watching critical support at 255 for Tesla. If it breaks below that, watch 254, 252.5, and then 250. For resistance right now, Tesla's trying to pump. We have 256.5 acting as resistance. If we hold above that, 257 to 257.5 is going to be this gap resistance zone. If that breaks, Tesla has the potential to push all the way up to 258. And if that ends up breaking, then 260 is going to be coming. So watch 257.5, 258, and then 260 as resistance levels for Tesla. If 260 breaks, then 262.5 is a possibility. Tesla's trying to break out right now. It's a little bit weaker than the market because of the bearish news, but it's kind of trading around this 256 range. So watch it very carefully. And don't forget to watch the support and resistance levels very carefully. Anyways, looking at SPY, okay, this thing is just insane. I mean, this was very wild price action, very volatile. It dropped really hard just to bounce like this, and it actually broke above this resistance finally. So that's a very bullish signal. So 428 is going to be acting as resistance. If this breaks, you're going to be watching this 429 area. I mean, if it manages to hold 428, that's going to likely be the next level. Then we have 430, which is where we have some resistance. If you break above that, this thing has the potential to push all the way up to this 432 area. So there's more upside potential as this thing is holding up. If 420 ends up failing, just hypothetically, right? You always want to be open-minded to anything. You want to be watching 427.5 as support, Below that, then we have this 427.3 zone. If we get below that, there's 426.5, and then we have 425.3-ish around this, like where this support line happens to be, the green area. So far, we're holding up and looking bullish. So it does look like this thing wants to just keep going. So it could just keep holding 428 for the time being, but I just want to be prepared for anything. Just want to prepare you guys for these levels just in case. The QQQ is also looking bullish thanks to Nvidia, Tesla, and Apple as well, because it actually broke above 362. Now, we were talking about this cup and handle yesterday on the QQQ. We ended up coming down, so it wasn't looking like this would play out in the morning, but now it looks like it's still playing out nicely. So very crazy price action. We touched 353.5. We actually didn't break below it, and that's why we ended up getting this bounce as the algos and buyers stepped in. 362 is a critical level for the QQQ. If we hold above this, there is potential for it to go all the way up to 363.75, then 365 above that. But we need to hold 362 for the time being. If we break below 362, you want to be watching support at about 360.5. If that fails us, it's going to come all the way down to about 360, 359, 358, and then 356 as support. But for now, it's holding 362 looking bullish. So watch these areas very, very carefully. For Nvidia stock, okay, this is also looking very bullish because Nvidia ended up getting this test. It came very close to testing the trend line, but it bounced beforehand. Now it's trying to hit this imbalance at 455. All right, it's looking more bullish. That was a little surprising because once again, we had a bearish jobs report, we had some bearish data, and yet the market, it's still turning this bullish, which is obviously fine, but it could be very tricky for lots of investors. These algos are designed to trick as many people as possible, but it's still just an obstacle in my eyes. It's not anything that should be able to stop you or something that should be like a hurdle. You need to be looking at this as something that can make things difficult, but it's not something that should make it impossible for our success. Anyways, for Nvidia, watch 451 is critical support. 452.5 is also another support. If you break below 451, watch 450, 448, 444, and then 442 below that. If it keeps breaking out, which is what it's doing so far, there's some resistance at 453.5, but it's not that strong. There's more resistance at 455. If we break above that, there is potential for it to go up to 460. So watch these levels very carefully on Nvidia. Last but not least, for Apple stock, it's looking bullish as this thing has broken some critical resistance. Now we're testing 176.5. If that breaks, 177 is where we have the next resistance zone. Above that, we have 177.5 and then 178 as resistance for Apple. If we break down, watch 176 as support, 175.5. And then below that, if we break below 175, we have 174 to 173.86. That entire zone is going to be acting as support. As of right now, Apple's looking bullish. It's trying to break this resistance, so there is potential for trying to push up towards this imbalance, towards 177.5, if we manage to hold above 177. We're currently fighting around 176.5, so we'll see if this thing can get all the way up there. But as of right now, it's holding up very nicely. Anyways, sometimes the market can be crazy. Tesla's trying to curl. It's trying to get all the way up above 257, so there's more potential for it. Going to be watching to see if Tesla could try to fill that gap towards 260 very soon. But in order for that to happen, we have to break 258. So watch that very carefully. Tesla's trying to break out. It's a little weaker because of this bearish news that came out involving the price cuts. But for now, watch these levels very carefully, and I hope this video was helpful nonetheless. Thank you for listening, guys. The market can be very tricky. Sometimes it's very difficult to predict moves like this, especially as all of this happened in just one day. But I'm doing the best I can, and I just wanted to provide you guys with levels just to prepare you guys nonetheless. All right, so have a great day. Watch these levels carefully, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but maybe later on today for another video, and then tomorrow as well. Thank you, and peace out.